Hello Year 5 and welcome to your maths lesson for today. So you are going to be looking at improper fractions and how we turn them into mixed numbers. So we're going to explore a little bit more today about your remainders, which is going to help you with your improper fractions. Before we do that though, time to warm up your brains. So put a 5-minute timer on, time yourselves, give yourself 5 minutes, have a go at doing these questions. Off you go. Okay, so work out 26 to the power of 2. So this is going to be 26 multiplied by 26, 676. What is £5 times 13? Well, all we do is we do 5 times 13 and we turn it into pounds, 65. Which has the greater area? Well, we know that we multiply 5 times 5 is going to be 25 centimetres squared, and 6 times 4 is going to give us 24 centimetres squared. Therefore, A has a bigger area. Put these lengths in ascending order. Okay, so ascending means that we're starting from the smallest going up to the biggest. Okay, so we have half a metre, 350 metres and 3 kilometres. Now, if you had to go at doing the clock up here, we can see that it's 56 minutes past 8. So we're coming up to 4 minutes to 9. Okay, so it would be 8:56 or it would be 20:56 if you're doing the 24-hour clock. So well done if you've got those all correct. Anyone if you've made a mistake on any of them, go back and just double check where it is that you've made your mistake. Okay. Now, what I'd like to do is have a go at these questions for me. So pause the video and have a go. So what fraction if the bar is shaded blue? So we've got 5 holes, 5 whole parts to it, 3 parts shaded, so 3/5. What fraction of the green bar is shaded? We have 2, 4, 6, 8, and all 8 of them are shaded, so it's 8 out of 8, which is the same as 1 hole if you wrote a hole. How many parts are yellow? We've got 8 altogether, and 5 of them are shaded, so it would be 5 parts. Okay? So we're going to explore how we identify improper fractions. So here we can see that we go from 0 to 1. Okay, this is 1. This bigger line tells me I've got to a whole. So we're going to count it in halves. So as I add 1 half and another half, that's going to give me 2 halves. If I add another half, that gives me 3 halves. And if I add another half, that gives me 4 halves. Okay, so this would be 2 halves together. Okay, and 2 halves, okay, is this one here. Makes 1 whole. But now I'm going to add another 2 halves. Okay, so I'm adding another half, which is my 3rd half here. Then I'm going to add a 4th half, okay, which is that one there. And now I have 2 wholes. Okay, so here you can see if I go from 1 whole to 2 whole, I could have 1 whole half or 2 whole halves together and an extra one. Now it's more complicated showing you that using halves. So we're going to look at it with a different number here. Okay, so here we can see we have 4 altogether. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, for our halves. Now we only have 3 of them. So remember our denominator, okay, is the number of equal parts we split it into. We've split it into 2. The numerator tells me how many parts we have shaded, and we have 3 parts shaded. Now this is what we call an improper fraction. This is what we looked at yesterday. So this is when the numerator is bigger or greater than the denominator, the bottom number. Okay, so that top one there is 1 whole, okay, because both halves of them are filled out. Here I have 1 half, okay, so I'd write that as 1 half. So that now shows me I have 1 whole and 1 half. Okay, I know that 1 whole is the same as 2 because we're looking at halves. So 1 times 2 gives me 2. Add my numerator is 3. So that would give me 3 halves. Okay, so this is what we call a mixed number. So obviously we have a whole number and the fraction to go with it because that's the leftover bit. So that's our remainders that we're looking at. So just pause the video and have a think. How do these representations show mixed numbers and improper fractions? What could our fractions and whole numbers be? So for the first one here then, we have a look. We can see the gaps as being 1, 2, 3. So we need to have them split into thirds. We have 1/3, 2/3 and a whole. And then we have a whole third because we've gone past the whole and an extra third. We still have the original whole third, but now we've got 2/3. Okay, so we've gone to 4/3. Okay, so that one there is 4/3, and that's the same as saying 1 and 1/3. Here, if we move these ones across and get rid of the empty ones, we're looking at partitioning these into 2, 4, 6. We have a whole one, which is 6 parts. Okay, so altogether we have 10/6. Now, if we changed that, that would be 1 whole, and we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4 remainders. So we'd have 1 whole, and we'd have 4 6 left over. Now, here we can see that these are split into half. So if I split these into half now, you can see I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've got 5 over 2. But if I wrote it as a mixed number, I'd have one whole, I'd have two wholes. So I have two wholes, and then I have 1 half. So that's my remainder. That's my leftover number. Okay. So let's show you how that works. So let's convert this to a mixed number. Okay. So I have two wholes. Okay. So I have my big 2. And then I have my 1/3 that's remaining. So I would write that as 1/3. So that's my extra bit of my remainder. Pause the video and have a go. What would my mixed number be for this question? Think about how many whole ones I have and what my extra fraction left over is. Okay, so if we had a look, we have 1, 2, 3. So we have 6 altogether, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 equal parts. That's going to be my denominator. And altogether I have 6, 12, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. I have 23. So I need to think, well, how many whole ones do I have? Okay, well, I have 3 whole ones. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 left over. So I would write that as 5, 6. Okay, with me so far? So based on that information, I'd like to have a go at questions 1 and 2. And then we're going to look at working out how we use our remainders knowledge to help us with those additional fractions. So pause the video and have a go at questions 1 and 2. So let's think about how we convert improper fractions in our heads using our times tables. So when we have 32 over 7, that's the same as saying 32 divided by 7. That line here on a fraction means divide. So if we divide 32 by 7, we know that it was 7, 14, 21, 28. We know we've got 4. But then from 28 to 32, we have remainder 4. So it'll be 4, remainder 4. 4 whole lots of 7 plus an extra 4. So if we then wrote that as a fraction, that remainder is going to be that additional fraction that we add on to the end. So here we've got the 37 again. Okay, so if I had 1/4 and divided it into 4, that means I've divided 1. Okay, 1 whole bar there into 4. So that must mean that this one means 32 divided by 7. Okay, so here I would have 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I'd have my different ones, and I'd have to fill them out. Now that's how many 32 is. Okay, so if we now look at that as a fraction, 32 divided by 7, we're saying 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I've got 4 wholes. Okay. But then I need to count, well, how many's left over? What's my remainder? Here I can see I've got 4, so it would be remainder 4. Now I change that remainder into a fraction, which would be 4/7. Therefore, 32 divided by 7 is the same as saying 4 and 4/7. You can see there, if I just wrote a little r there as a remainder, it'd be 4, remainder 4. Okay, so it's exactly the same as how you would divide it using remainders. Then you just turn that last part of your remainder into a fraction. And your denominator will be the same as what you've already been dividing by. And your numerator is just how many you've got left over. Okay, so let's see if you can convert these improper fractions into mixed numbers. Okay, so think about your normal division. You could do your bust up if you needed to. Think about, well, how many 10s can I get into 100? How many are left over? That leftover is going to be your fraction over 10. 22 divided by 3, well, how many 3s can I get into 22? That's going to be your whole number. Whatever your remainder is going to be your numerator with your denominator as 3. So pause the video and have a go. Okay, well, 10s into 100 goes 10 times. So my whole number is going to be 10. But I've then got 7 left over. 7 remainder 7, so it's going to be 7/10. Now 3s into 21. Okay, we know 3s goes into 21 7 times, so it's 21. We have 1 left over, so it becomes 1/3. Okay, what I would like to do now is have a go at the rest of the questions. Please do not do questions 6 and 7 though, because we're going to be exploring that in a later lesson. Okay, that's quite difficult for me to be able to show you through the videos. I'm going to work out a different way to show you that. If you think you can have a go and work out the values yourself, by all means, please do have a go, because it's similar to the missing number questions that we've done, so you've got to think your logic backwards. But if not, please just have a go at doing questions 3, 4 and 5. So the questions where you've got the stars and the circles on, where you've got to guess the missing numbers, if you don't understand them, don't do them. I'm not going to be sending home any additional worksheets for this unit at the moment. I'm going to stick with the white rose one, so just have a go at those questions and see how you get on. Okay? Good luck, year 5.